Every morning, a young boy named Hassan went to school with a small old lunchbox. Inside the lunchbox was always the same thing, the simple pieces of bread at school. Hassan watched other children open their colorful lunch boxes filled with sandwiches, fruits, cakes, and juice. Sometimes they laughed and said, "Why do you always bring the same food?" Hassan just smiled quietly and ate his bread one day. His teacher noticed that Hassan never complained and always shared one piece of bread with a stray. "Little cat," the teacher gently asked him, "Hassan, why do you never ask for better food?" Hassan looked down and answered softly, "My mother works all day washing clothes for people. She wakes up very early just to make this bread for me." The teacher felt touched by his words. The next day, the teacher decided to visit Hassan's home. It was a very small house. Hassan's mother welcomed the teacher with a warm smile. While they talked, the teacher noticed something surprising. On the table, there was only one plate of bread. "Hassan eats this every day." The mother said proudly. The teacher asked quietly, "And what about you?" The mother smiled and replied, "I eat after he sleeps." But the teacher realized something heartbreaking. There was no other food in the house. The mother had been giving all the food to her son. The next morning at school, the teacher brought a bigger lunch box for Hassan. Inside were fruits, sandwiches, and milk. Hassan's eyes filled with tears, but he didn't cry because of the food. He cried because someone had finally understood his mother's love. Kindness can fix more than broken things, it can fix broken hearts. Moral: a mother's love is the greatest sacrifice in the world.
Have you ever lost something you really cared about?
Little Adil loved his bright red kite more than anything.
One sunny afternoon, a strong gust of wind snatched it from his hands and tossed it high into the branches of a giant banyan tree.
Adil's heart sank. He tried everything, jumping, throwing stones, but the kite was just too high.
Just as he was about to give up, a boy from the village, who had been watching quietly, scurried up the tree with amazing skill. In a moment, he had the kite and was climbing back down.
He handed it to Adil with a shy smile. That day, Adil didn't just get his kite back.
He found a new friend. Sometimes the best treasures aren't things, but the people who help us when we need it most. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
In a small village lived a boy named Yusuf. One evening, his mother served dinner. Yusuf noticed something strange. His plate was full of food, but his mother's plate was empty. "Mom, why aren't you eating?" Yusuf asked. His mother smiled softly and said, "I already ate earlier." Yusuf started eating but kept looking at her. Something didn't feel right. Later that night, Yusuf went to the kitchen and saw his mother drinking only water. He realized the truth. There wasn't enough food for both of them. His mother had given all the food to him. The next day, Yusuf worked extra hard at school and helped neighbors after class. Slowly, their life became better. But Yusuf never forgot that moment, because that night he learned something powerful. A mother's love is the greatest sacrifice in the world. A mother's love always puts her child first.
One sunny morning, a boy named Amir was walking through the park. Suddenly, he heard tiny chirping sounds. He looked down and saw a bird's nest that had fallen from a tree. Inside the nest were 3 small baby birds crying for help. Amir carefully picked up the nest. He looked up and saw the tree where it had fallen from. It was tall, and the branch was far away. Amir quickly found a small ladder near the park gardener's shed. Slowly and carefully, he climbed the ladder. With gentle hands, he placed the nest back on the tree branch. The mother bird flew down and sat beside her babies. She chirped happily. Amir climbed down and smiled as he walked away. He looked back at the tree. Sometimes helping the smallest creatures can make the biggest difference. Kindness to nature is kindness to life.
One day at school, a boy named Farhan found a torn book lying under his desk. Some pages were missing, and the cover was damaged. "Useless," one student said, and kicked it aside. Farhan picked it up carefully. After school, he took the book home. He taped the torn pages, cleaned the cover, and arranged it neatly. The next day, he placed the book back in the classroom library. A quiet boy in the class picked it up and started reading. His eyes lit up with excitement. "I've been looking for this book," he said happily. Farhan smiled. Because something others ignored had become valuable again. That day, Farhan learned something important. Sometimes, it's not about how broken something is, but how much care you give it. Care and effort can restore value to anything.
One afternoon, a boy named Tariq was walking through the park. He noticed an old man sitting alone on a bench, looking quiet and sad. Many people walked past, busy with their phones and conversations. No one stopped. Tariq felt something in his heart. Instead of walking away, he sat beside the old man. "Hello, sir," Tariq said with a smile. The old man looked surprised. Slowly, they began talking. The old man shared stories about his childhood, his family, and the old days. Soon, the sadness on his face disappeared. After some time, Tariq had to leave. "Before going," the old man said softly, "thank you for giving me something very special today." "What was it?" Tariq asked. "A little of your time," the old man replied. Tariq walked home smiling, because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is simply your presence. Your time can be the most valuable gift to someone.
In a world filled with color and laughter, sometimes we find ourselves standing in the shadows of what once was. For young Ali, this wasn't just paper and string. It was a memory of his father, now broken and grounded. A gift given with a smile, a promise of connection that felt as fragile as the wind. But sadness has a way of calling out to those who truly know how to listen. An old toy seller, with hands that knew the secrets of repair, saw more than just a broken toy. "My father made this for me," Ali whispered. "Now it can't fly anymore." With gentle care and a bit of magic, the old man began to mend the torn edges of the boy's world. "Try again," he said softly. "A little kindness is all it takes to make something whole again, with a heart beating fast." Ali ran towards the open field, letting the past catch the breeze. Higher and higher, it soared, dancing against the blue sky like a spirit reborn. The joy in Ali's eyes was brighter than the Sunnah heart finally finding its wings. When he turned to say thank you, the mysterious craftsman was already a distant shadow. Some people come into our lives just to remind us that we aren't alone in our healing. Because kindness can fix more than broken things, it can fix a broken heart.
In our busy world, it's easy to feel like you're all alone, lost in the crowd. This is a story about two souls, separated by generations, who found each other in their shared loneliness. Meet Leo, a quiet 10-year-old boy. He spent most of his afternoons kicking a worn-out soccer ball against a brick wall, his only companion. His parents worked long hours, and the other kids in the neighborhood seemed to have their own tight-knit groups. Leo often felt invisible. One sunny afternoon, an elderly man named Arthur sat on a park bench nearby. Watching Leo, Arthur's face was a roadmap of wrinkles, each one telling a story Leo couldn't yet imagine. He lived alone, his days long and silent since his wife had passed. He saw a younger version of his own loneliness in the boy's solitary game. Hesitantly, Arthur called out, "That's a strong kick you've got there, son." Leo stopped, surprised. No one usually spoke to him. He shyly mumbled a thank you. From that day on, Arthur was always on that bench. He'd share stories of his youth, of travels to faraway lands, and of a love that lasted a lifetime. Leo, in turn, told Arthur about his video games, his struggles with math, and his dream of becoming an astronaut. The wall was forgotten now. His afternoons were filled with laughter and shared secrets. Leo taught Arthur how to use a smartphone to see pictures of his grandkids, and Arthur taught Leo how to play chess. They built a bridge across the chasm of age, made of kindness and understanding. They weren't just a boy and an old man anymore. They were the best of friends. Their story reminds us that friendship doesn't see age, and sometimes the most profound connections are found where we least expect them, healing to hearts at once. Thanks for watching. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe for more content that warms the heart. See you next time.
In a small village lived a kind girl named Sarah. One day, her teacher gave every student an empty glass jar. "Fill this jar with something that shows kindness," the teacher said. Some children filled their jars with candies. Others filled them with colorful stones. Sarah went home thinking. The next morning, she helped her old neighbor carry water. She helped her mother cook dinner. She shared her lunch with a hungry classmate. But her jar was still empty. At school, the teacher asked the students to show their jars. Everyone proudly showed their jars full of things. Sarah slowly placed her empty jar on the table. Some students laughed, but the teacher smiled warmly. Sarah's jar is the most special, she said. The jar is empty because her kindness is not something you can see, but something you feel. The class became quiet, and that day, everyone understood something important. Moral: true kindness is not shown by things, but by actions.
In a busy town lived a boy named Hamza. One afternoon, while walking home from school, he saw a wallet lying on the road. Hamza picked it up and opened it. Inside were many money notes and an ID card. For a moment, Hamza thought this money could buy many things, but then he remembered what his mother always said: honesty is more valuable than money. Hamza looked at the ID card and saw an address. He walked across the town and knocked on the door. A worried old man opened it. "Sir, I found your wallet," Hamza said politely. The old man checked it and his eyes filled with relief. "I lost this while buying medicine," he said. He tried to give Hamza some money as a reward, but Hamza smiled and shook his head. "I just wanted to return what belongs to you." The old man blessed him with a warm smile. That day, Hamza walked home feeling proud, because doing the right thing made his heart richer than any wallet. Moral: honesty is the greatest treasure.
One afternoon, a boy named No Man was cleaning his grandfather's old house. In a dusty corner, he found an old broken clock. The clock had stopped working many years ago. "Why do we keep this useless clock?" No Man asked his grandfather. His grandfather smiled gently. "That clock reminds me of something important," he said. No Man looked curious. "When I was young, I worked so much that I had no time for my family," the grandfather explained. "One day the clock stopped, and I realized time never waits for anyone. From that day, he decided to spend more time with the people he loved." No Man looked at the old clock again. Even though it was broken, its lesson was still alive. That evening, No Man sat with his grandfather and talked for hours, because he now understood something important. Time spent with loved ones is the most valuable time of all.
A poor boy named Bilal went to school every day wearing old, torn shoes. When it rained, water entered his shoes. When he walked, the sole made a strange sound. Some children laughed at him. "Why don't you buy new shoes?" they asked. Bilal just stayed quiet. One evening, when Bilal returned home, he saw his father sitting outside their small house. His father worked very hard carrying heavy boxes in the market every day. Bilal noticed something strange. His father's shoes were completely broken. The front part was open and his toes could be seen. Bilal asked softly, "Father, why don't you buy new shoes?" His father smiled and said, "I will buy them soon." But that night, Bilal woke up and heard his parents talking. His mother said quietly, "You should buy shoes for yourself first." But his father replied, "No, Bilal needs them more. His school is far." The next morning, Bilal found a new pair of shoes beside his bed. He looked outside and saw his father leaving for work. Still wearing the same broken shoes, Bilal ran outside and hugged him tightly. At that moment, he understood something very important. His father didn't buy shoes for himself. Because a father's love always walks barefoot so his child can walk comfortably. A father's sacrifice is often silent but incredibly deep.
One morning, a girl named Lena was walking to school through the park. Near the path, she saw a small flower growing between the stones. People were stepping around it without noticing. Some even almost stepped on it. Lena stopped and gently placed a few small stones around the flower to protect it. Every day after school, she came back and poured a little water on it. Days passed, and the flower slowly grew bigger and brighter. Soon, people walking in the park began noticing the beautiful flower. They stopped to admire it and take pictures. One day, Lena's teacher saw the flower and asked who had taken care of it. Lena smiled quietly. She didn't want praise. She just felt happy seeing something small grow beautifully. Because sometimes, caring for even the smallest life can make the world more beautiful. Small acts of care can create great beauty.
One afternoon, a boy named Tariq was walking through the park. He noticed an old man sitting alone on a bench, looking quiet and sad. Many people walked past, busy with their phones and conversations. No one stopped. Tariq felt something in his heart. Instead of walking away, he sat beside the old man. "Hello, sir," Tariq said with a smile. The old man looked surprised. Slowly, they began talking. The old man shared stories about his childhood, his family, and the old days. Soon, the sadness on his face disappeared. After some time, Tariq had to leave. Before going, the old man said softly, "Thank you for giving me something very special today." "What was it?" Tariq asked, a little of. "Your time," the old man replied. Tariq walked home smiling. Because sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is simply your presence. Your time can be the most valuable gift to someone.
One winter morning, a boy named Zane was walking to school. The wind was cold and snow covered the ground. As he walked past a tree, he noticed a small bird shivering on the ground. The bird looked weak and could barely move. Zane felt sorry for it. He gently picked up the bird and wrapped it in his warm scarf. Then he took the bird home and placed it near the fireplace. After some time, the bird slowly opened its eyes. It chirped softly and began to move again. The next morning, Zane carried the bird outside. The little bird spread its wings and flew up into the sky. Before flying away, it circled above Zane as if saying thank you. Zane smiled and watched it disappear into the bright blue sky. That day, he learned something special. Even a small act of kindness can save a life. Moral: kindness makes the world warmer for everyone.
One rainy day, a boy named Fahad was walking home from school. He had a small umbrella, just enough to keep himself dry. As he walked, he saw a classmate standing in the rain, completely soaked. The boy looked cold and sad. Fahad paused for a moment. Then he stepped closer and said, "Come, we can share." They both walked under the small umbrella. It was a tight fit, and both still got a little wet. But they were smiling. On the way they talked, laughed, and became friends. The rain didn't feel so heavy anymore. When they reached home, the classmate said, "Thank you. Today you didn't just share your umbrella, you shared your kindness." Fahad smiled and walked away. Because sometimes sharing a little space can create a big friendship. Sharing brings hearts closer.
One morning, a boy named Osman was getting ready for school. As he wore his shirt, he noticed a button was missing. "Mom, my shirt is broken," he said. His mother smiled gently but looked tired. "We don't have time to fix it now," she replied. Osman felt a little embarrassed but went to school anyway. During class, another boy started, laughing. "Look, his shirt is broken." Osman looked down quietly. Just then, a girl from his class took out a small sewing kit. "Wait," she said kindly. Carefully, she stitched a button onto his shirt. The class became silent. Osman looked at his shirt and smiled. "Thank you," he said softly. The girl replied, "It's just a small thing." But to Osman, it meant a lot. Because sometimes, fixing a small problem can heal a big feeling. Small acts of kindness can make a big difference.
One day at school, it was Teacher's Day. All the students brought beautiful gifts, flowers, boxes, and cards. A poor boy named Iqbal stood quietly in the corner. He had nothing to give. When it was his turn, he slowly walked to the teacher with empty hands. Some students started to whisper and laugh. "I'm sorry, I couldn't bring anything," Iqbal said softly. The teacher smiled kindly and said, "Did you come to school today?" "Yes," Iqbal replied. "Did you listen, learn, and try your best?" she asked. "Yes," he said. The teacher gently placed her hand on his head. "Then you have already given me the most valuable gift." The class became silent. Iqbal smiled for the first time that day, because sometimes the greatest gift is not something you hold, but something you give from the heart. Your effort and sincerity are the greatest gifts of all.
A young boy named Zain loved his grandmother very much. Every evening, he would sit beside her and listen to her stories. She always smiled and said, "Never forget, I am always with you." One day, Zain's grandmother became very ill and was taken to the hospital. Zain wanted to visit her, but his parents said, "Not today. She needs rest." Days passed. Zain felt something was wrong. He kept looking at his phone, hoping for good news. One night, while sitting alone, Zain opened his grandmother's old phone that she had given him to play games. As he scrolled through it, he found a voice message recorded by her. His hands trembled as he pressed play. Her soft voice filled the room. "Dear Zain, if you are listening to this, it means I couldn't say goodbye properly, but don't be sad, my child. I am always in your heart. Keep smiling." That is all I ever wanted. Zain froze. Tears slowly rolled down his cheeks. At that exact moment, his parents entered the room with heavy hearts. They didn't need to say anything. Zain already understood. He hugged the phone tightly and whispered, "I will smile. I promise." From that day on, whenever Zain felt lonely, he played that message again, and somehow, he never felt alone. Because love doesn't disappear, it stays, even after goodbye. True love never leaves, it lives on in our hearts forever.
High in the night sky lived a tiny star. The little star looked around and saw many big, bright stars shining beautifully. "I am too small," the little star thought sadly. "No one will ever notice my light." Every night, the big stars shined brightly across the sky. The tiny star stayed quiet and dim. One night, a little girl on Earth looked up at the sky. She was feeling lonely and scared. Through the dark clouds, only one small star was visible. It was the tiny star. The girl smiled softly and whispered, "Thank you for shining for me." At that moment, the little star realized something important. Even though its light was small, it had brightened someone's night. From that night on, the tiny star shined with confidence. Because even the smallest light can bring hope to someone in the dark. Moral: your light may seem small, but it can mean the world to someone. Have you ever noticed how a tiny act can change someone's entire day? Picture this: a sudden downpour, the kind that soaks you in seconds. An elderly woman is caught in the rain, trying to shield her head with a newspaper. But it's no use. She's getting drenched. Just then, a little girl with a bright yellow umbrella runs up to her. Without a word, she holds the umbrella over the woman's head. The woman's surprised face melts into a warm, grateful smile. Together, they walk down the street, two strangers sharing a small, dry space under a yellow umbrella. That simple gesture, that moment of shared shelter, probably meant the world to that woman. It's a beautiful reminder, isn't it? Kindness doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes it's as simple as sharing your umbrella. What small act of kindness can you do today? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting stories.
It was Ahmed's 10th birthday, a day every child's dreams will be filled with magic and big surprises. But in the bustling classroom, while others laughed about their fancy gifts, Ahmed sat quietly at his desk. Even when his teacher asked about his plans, he simply offered a brave smile and whispered, "Maybe later." The walk home felt longer than usual under the warm orange glow of the late afternoon sun. Inside their small apartment, the silence was heavy. There were no balloons, no streamers, just an empty table. Shadows stretched across the room. A lonely thought crossed his mind. Maybe Mom forgot. Suddenly, the door creaked open. There stood his mother, looking exhausted from a long day at the factory. Her face lit up when she saw him. "Close your eyes," she whispered with a mysterious smile. She carefully placed a tiny, humble cake on the table, its single candle flickering like a small star. When Ahmed opened his eyes, the soft light of that one candle illuminated the whole world for him. He looked at her, hands worn and tired from working so hard just to provide this moment. In that instant, he didn't see a small cake. He saw the immense sacrifice behind it. Tears of gratitude filled his eyes as he threw his arms around her, holding on to the greatest gift of all. The sun dipped below the horizon. Their home was filled with a warmth no money could ever buy. Because true love is never measured by the size of the gift, but by the depth of the sacrifice behind it.
One day, a poor boy named Ahmed was going door to door selling small items to pay for his school. By afternoon, he was very hungry and had no money left. He decided to ask for some food at the next house. A young woman opened the door. Ahmed felt shy and instead asked, "Could I please have a glass of water?" The woman noticed he looked very hungry. Instead of water, she brought him a big glass of milk. Ahmed drank it slowly. "How much do I owe you?" he asked. The woman smiled and said, "You owe me nothing. Kindness is free." Years passed. Ahmed studied hard and became a successful doctor. One day, a sick woman was brought to the hospital. She needed a very expensive treatment. When the doctor saw her name, he recognized her. She was the same woman who had given him milk many years ago. After her treatment, she was worried about the hospital bill, but when she opened it, she saw a small note. Paid in full, with 1 glass of milk. Tears filled her eyes. "Kindness you give today may return. To you tomorrow."